The ancient world of Yria is a realm of rugged beauty and untamed spirit, where grand vistas of towering mountain ranges and winding rivers meet the echoes of a civilization that danced to the rhythm of nature's grand symphony. The Yrians, an Indo-European speaking people, found their home in the mountainous terrain of the Balkans, stretching from the Adriatic Sea in the west to the Black Sea in the east. Their world was a tapestry of dense forests, thundering waterfalls, and meadows alive with the bleating of sheep and the buzz of industrious bees. Yet, despite the challenges posed by this untamed landscape, the Yrians not only survived, but thrived, weaving a culture as resilient and enduring as the mountains that cradled them. As we embark on this journey, we will explore how the geography of Yria shaped the destiny of its people, how their cultural practices mirrored the ruggedness of their environment, and how their interactions with neighboring civilizations left an indelible mark on their identity. Join us as we unravel the saga of a civilization that, in the annals of history, echoed with the strength of the mountains and the flow of mighty rivers, leaving behind a legacy that continues to resonate through the ages. Before diving into the fascinating world of the Yriani civilization, let's take a moment to appreciate the historical context that shaped their emergence. Envision a time when the known world was a mosaic of cultures, each vying for dominance and leaving its indelible imprint on the course of human history. It was during this era that the Yriani took their first steps onto the world stage. Let's delve deeper into the heart of ancient Yria, exploring the geographical canvas on which the Yriani story unfolded. The Yriani homeland was a realm of contrasts, a place where the embrace of towering mountain ranges met the allure of rolling hills and verdant valleys. Picture a land where the whisper of ancient winds carried tales of distant cultures, bringing with it the promise of adventure and the unknown. At the heart of this mystical landscape flowed the lifeline of the Yrians, the Iskir River, a tributary of the Danube. The Iskir, with its meandering path, served not only as a source of sustenance, but as a thread that wove together the diverse threads of their society. The banks of the Iskir witnessed the rise and fall of settlements, each bearing silent testimony to the ebb and flow of life under the watchful gaze of the heavens. However, the true essence of the Yrians lay in their ability to harness the very essence of their surroundings, to mold their environment into an extension of their spirit. They weren't merely inhabitants of the land, they were its interpreters, reading its rhythms and adapting to its challenges with an uncanny finesse. One of the most striking features of the Yriani landscape was the omnipresence of fortifications. Jagged rock formations, natural caves, and elevated plateaus became their citadels, offering both refuge and vantage points in a world where survival often hinged on the ability to defend and conquer. Imagine standing on a windswept peak, the elements at your command, ready to face whatever challenges the world might throw your way. But the Yriani didn't just build their lives around the constraints of their environment. They also wove their cultural identity into the fabric of their surroundings. Their language, with its deep roots in the sounds of nature, became a reflection of their existence, and their cultural practices often mirroring the cycles of the seasons, celebrated the bounty and challenges of their world. From the earliest days of their existence, the Yrians were not an isolated people. They existed in a web of interactions with neighboring cultures, each encounter adding a new chapter to their collective narrative. Through trade, war, and diplomacy, they exchanged ideas, resources, and destinies with those around them. It was in these moments of cultural fusion that the true richness of Orient civilization began to take shape. To understand the essence of the Orion civilization, we must turn our attention to their cultural practices, a kaleidoscope of traditions that mirrored the complexity and resilience of their environment. The Yriani religion was a vibrant tapestry of beliefs and practices that served as the moral compass guiding their society. Central to their faith was a pantheon of deities, each representing a facet of their existence. From the gods of thunder and lightning to those of fertility and the hunt, these deities weren't distant, all-knowing beings. They were participants in the lives of mortals, demanding respect, appeasement, and sometimes even intervention. Picture a world where every rustling leaf could carry the whispers of a god, every crashing wave a message from the divine. In this world, rituals weren't just ceremonies. They were dialogues with the supernatural. The Yriani engaged in a constant exchange with their deities, seeking guidance, protection, and sometimes retribution. It was a relationship forged in the crucible of a harsh yet beautiful landscape, where every step was laden with uncertainty and every harvest a hard-won victory. Central to Orient culture was the concept of bravery, a virtue that transcended the battlefield and permeated every aspect of their existence. For the Yrians, courage wasn't just the absence of fear. It was a conscious choice, a deliberate act of confronting one's fears head-on. In a world where survival was precarious and the elements unforgiving, bravery was essential. Whether it was taming a wild beast, negotiating with a neighboring tribe, or simply tending to one's fields in the face of uncertainty, the Yrians were called upon to exhibit courage. It wasn't just about physical strength, but about mental fortitude, resilience in the face of adversity, and a willingness to endure and overcome. Social structure in early Yria was a nuanced interplay of lineage, locality, and occupation. At its core, the Yrian society was deeply rooted in kinship ties, with family and clan loyalties often taking precedence over broader political affiliations. Picture a society where decisions were made not just by elected officials, but by the collective wisdom of families bound by ties of blood and shared history. However, as the Yrian civilization matured, social hierarchies began to emerge, driven by factors such as wealth, occupation, and political influence. This evolution led to the emergence of social classes, each with its own rights, duties, and aspirations. The transition wasn't abrupt, but a gradual shift, much like the changing seasons, each phase influencing and shaping the next. Let's now turn our attention to the economic backbone of the Yrian civilization, their mastery of metallurgy. The use of metals was more than just a technological advancement. It was a testament to their ingenuity and adaptability in a challenging environment. The Yrians didn't merely exploit their natural resources, they integrated them into their very being, understanding their properties and harnessing them to their advantage. Imagine a world where the dance of hammer and anvil gave birth to tools and weapons of unparalleled quality, shaping not just the material world, but the course of history itself. The Yrians weren't content with simply using metals as they found them. They experimented, they innovated, and they pushed the boundaries of what was possible. In the grand narrative of the Yrian civilization, art played a pivotal role, serving as a mirror to their cultural soul. Their artistic expressions, whether in the form of pottery, sculpture, or metalwork, were more than just aesthetic creations. They were carriers of cultural identity, each stroke, each curve, and each design telling tales of their history, beliefs, and values. The Yrians didn't create art in a vacuum. They drew inspiration from the world around them, from the majestic dance of the mountains to the serene beauty of the rivers. Their art wasn't meant to be confined to the walls of galleries or the pages of books. It was meant to be part of everyday life, adorning homes, gracing ritual sites, and accompanying them on their journeys. As we continue our exploration of the Yrian civilization, let's now delve into their monumental achievements, those awe-inspiring feats that stand as silent sentinels to their brilliance. Among their most notable creations were the burial mounds. These weren't just burial sites, they were monumental expressions of their cultural values, serving as tributes to their ancestors and markers of their societal evolution. Picture vast mounds of earth and stone, each one a silent sentinel guarding the remains of those who came before. But it wasn't just about the tombs themselves. The artifacts buried within, from intricately crafted weapons to delicate jewelry, offered a glimpse into the lives, beliefs, and artistic prowess of the Yrian. The process of creating these burial mounds wasn't a solitary endeavor. It was a community effort, bringing together families, clans, and even neighboring societies in a shared ritual of remembrance and respect. These shared experiences fostered a sense of unity, reinforcing bonds and creating lasting memories. The Yrian civilization didn't exist in a bubble. It was deeply entwined in a complex web of interactions with neighboring cultures, each encounter leaving its indelible mark on their collective story. To truly understand the Yrians, we must explore the tapestry of their interactions, the threads of war, trade, and diplomacy that wove new patterns into the fabric of their existence. One of the most significant aspects of the Yrians' external interactions was their engagement with the broader Mediterranean world. Through trade routes that crisscrossed the Aegean and Adriatic seas, they exchanged not just goods, but ideas, technologies, and cultural practices. These exchanges introduced new possibilities, reshaping the very definition of what was achievable within their society. As we bring our journey, civilization, to a close, let's reflect on their lasting impact on the course of history. Despite the passage of time and the changes that have reshaped our world, the legacy of the Yrians endures. Their innovations, their cultural richness, and their spirit of resilience continue to echo through the ages, inspiring and informing our understanding of the ancient world. There, with their deep connection to their environment, their vibrant cultural practices, and their pioneering spirit, offer a timeless lesson in adaptability and innovation. They remind us that even in the face of daunting challenges, humanity has the capacity to not just survive, but to thrive, to create, and to leave an indelible mark on the world.